So when I was younger, I was the shy kid. I would go to school and I would be really, really quiet. And a lot of people thought that I was just really quiet or I couldn't talk or whatever. Except for my friends, they knew I could talk, but I was still pretty quiet. That was at a very young age. And then I thought that I sort of started to come out of my shell like in elementary school, but then after that, middle school, high school, yeah, it just became really, really quiet. Very awkward. People started calling me awkward like later on in high school. And when I got to college, I think that was like the peak of my awkwardness. But then I started to sort of accept that I was awkward. But still, life has a way of smacking you in the face. Like reality has a way of smacking you in the face. So after all these years of people calling me awkward and shy and quiet and everything, finally when I was about 21 or maybe 22 at the time, I started working with the softball team as an athletic training student, helping with like athletic injuries. And I started to like make people uncomfortable just being around them because I was so awkward. And I had to like give shoulder massages to the softball team. And I guess like they said I made them like uncomfortable and they didn't want me to do it. They wanted somebody else to do the treatments on them. And I was like, well, shit, I can't go the rest of my life just making people uncomfortable. I was really frustrated with this because, you know, I was kind of faced with the decision of like, okay, can I just be a hermit for the rest of my life? Can I just stay inside, never go outside, and never have to deal with social situations and never make anybody uncomfortable again? And never have to deal with people telling me that I'm making them uncomfortable, and never have to deal with, you know, people telling me that I'm awkward. Maybe I can do that. Maybe I can get a job, but that's not the path that I was on. The major that I chose in college and the path that I was on required me to socialize with people. And even if I did like pick a job that was a recluse, or if I like became a recluse, it was inevitable. It's inevitable that I was gonna have to deal with social situations. And I knew that. I was very aware of that. So, because like, you know, what are you gonna do? Have a job that's a remote job, you're working at home all the time, and then an old friend or your brother or something invites you to a wedding or a get together or something. You're gonna have to be in social situations. You're gonna have to communicate with people at some point. So that's the realization I came to, and that kind of motivated me to do what I'm gonna talk about next. All right, so what did I do next? Everybody's calling me awkward. People are saying that I'm making them uncomfortable. I don't want to have that happen over and over again for the rest of my life. I don't want to deal with this like worry and anxiety that I'm getting in social situations, just being awkward and clunky, talking to people and interacting with them. And on top of that, feeling extremely self-conscious and just anxious before any social gathering. So I started looking some stuff up on YouTube, and I found some videos of a former dating coach who took people out on the streets of London and now just taught them how to be confident. And his strategy was to have them approach a lot of women. So I was like, well, this seems like it would work. If I put myself in more and more social situations with, you know, attractive women, because that's the most intimidating situation a man could be in. And it just made sense to approach women and not just like approach men on my college campus. So I started doing that. And at first I would just ask for directions, because that was like, you know, I didn't want to freak out and just like go up and try to do something crazy, or I didn't want to like sign up to give like a public speech in front of 1,000 people or something. I didn't want to do something super duper courageous that would just like cause me to freak out, but I did want to do something that was courageous. And that for me was literally just small interactions. So I started setting goals for myself. I'm going to talk to 4 people today. So on the way to class, I would just go up to somebody and be like, hey, my phone died. Do you have the time? Or, hey, do you know where the museum on campus is? And then they would just point to it and I'd be like, thank you. And then the next day was like, okay, approach 4 people and ask for directions and then give them a compliment. So, hey, do you know where the museum is? Oh, that way? Cool, thanks. Hey, I like your shirt, by the way. Or I like your shoes, or whatever. I tried to give a genuine compliment. I did other exercises where I would just walk and I would make eye contact with people. And as I passed them on my campus, I would just be like, hey, I like your shoes. Hey, I like your shirt. I like the way that this looks on you, whatever. And I would start giving compliments. So basically, I was ripping myself out of my recluse ways and just interacting with people more. And that's the first step to overcoming social anxiety, in my opinion, and in my experience, actually. It was just getting yourself out of your own head and starting to interact with other people, because that puts you in reality, and that lets you know what work that you need to do on yourself. Because if you don't know how you react or how you interact with other people, if you don't know how you react to being in reality, interacting with the world around you, then you just don't know. You don't know what you need to work on. You don't know that you have trouble making eye contact. You don't know that your voice cracks when you walk up to somebody new and you need to work on that. You don't know that you need to speak up more. You don't know that your body starts to shake when you approach an attractive girl, which I found out pretty soon. That's what happens, or that's what happened with me. And at that point, I viewed everything, even though that sounds really embarrassing, like you walk up to a girl and you start shaking, or your face turns white, or you walk up, like you sign up for a public speaking class or something, and you're like all tense up there. It sounds embarrassing, but I viewed everything that was happening to my body and my mind as me getting tougher and me finding out more about myself and desensitizing those areas that I was so afraid of, I guess, like desensitizing my reaction to things. Okay, so is that all you need to do? I hear a lot of people say, like, man, I just can't do it. I can't put myself in social situations. I'm gonna address those people who don't believe it's possible. But first, I wanna talk about the next step. In addition to putting yourself in more social situations, that is the first step. At least that was the first step for me, and it helped me a lot. I became a lot more confident doing that. Just putting myself in more social situations in general, saying yes to the party that I was invited to, saying yes to this event, that event, just putting myself in front of people as much as possible. The next thing was, when I was hanging out with my friends, sometimes I'll get a little self-conscious if I thought of a funny thing, like a joke, and then I wouldn't say it because I wouldn't know if they would think it was funny or not. I started forcing myself to say that stuff. And that was the next step, because then I was being more myself. I was being more authentic. Whenever a thought came into my head, instead of filtering myself, I would just say it. So the next step is like actually, and I started doing this in those interactions too. When I would approach girls on my college campus, I would start saying whatever was on my mind. Like, hey, what's up? I actually have social anxiety. I like to talk to like random people. And and that was like, again, that sounds really embarrassing to admit that you have social anxiety, or to admit that you're embarrassed to talk to a girl, or that you feel a little bit nervous. The point is to say it in a powerful position, to like be okay with it, to be completely okay with yourself. The point is not to be like, oh, I have social anxiety, feel bad for me. That's horrible. No. The point is to be like, yeah, I'm a little nervous, but I'm here, and that's okay. So much stuff, so many videos I can make on this. So that next step is literally just like, say more things that are on your mind. Because you can like put yourself in a lot of social situations, and I could see myself doing this. This actually happened to me a little bit later when I started getting more into dating. I started to put on a facade in order to make myself seem cooler or more attractive. I started to say things that I thought that the other person would like, and what I realized is that actually doesn't work, because like, even if they do start to like you for that facade that you're putting on, they're gonna find out who you really are later. The facade's gonna come off. You can't hold a facade for too long, unless you're like a sociopath or something. If you're a sociopath, stop watching this video. You probably don't have crippling social anxiety if you're, whatever. My mind just trailed off. I'm like, where the fuck is this video going? Okay, so if you're a normal person, it's likely that you can't wear a facade all the time. People are going to find out who you really are. You can't really trick people in the beginning anyways. People can tell when you're being fake with them. So whatever's on your mind, you have to say it and you have to communicate it. There's actually a book called Crucial Conversations that helped me a lot with my communication, because people think they have to either be like really authentic and then come off as a dick sometimes, or, put on a facade and put on a nice smile and like hold themselves back in order to keep respect with people. But you can actually do both. You can communicate things in a way that's completely respectable or respectful to the other person, but also that's honest. Like if you keep those two things in mind, how can I respect the other person 100% and be 100% honest with what I'm trying to communicate? That's a start. Okay, so the final thing is I want to address the last thing that you need to keep in mind when you're overcoming social anxiety. This is something that I realized recently, like in the last year, actually, even though I started that journey when I was 22, that was 6 years ago. So this is something that I realized kind of recently. I did back then. I did this back then, but I didn't realize I was doing it. You can't listen to people who say it's impossible to overcome social anxiety. You have to listen to people that have done it. You have to listen to people that are giving advice on how to overcome social anxiety, who have done it themselves and who know how to do it, who have helped other people do it, who have results. Because if you're constantly going on like forums online or just talking to your friends about how you can't do something, then how is it going to happen? You're just not going to do it because you don't even believe it's possible. And you're listening to people who don't want to get over it, who don't want to get over social anxiety. You're listening to people who basically want a pity party, who want to be like, oh yeah, it's hard. If you're talking to people about social anxiety and they're just like, it's hard, it's super difficult, I can't do it, you don't understand me, I can't just go outside and make eye contact with somebody, I can't, my social anxiety is stopping me. You need to get out of that environment. You need to get out of the pity party. And that's just something that you have to do. Good morning. How are you?
Afternoon or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, whatever. Little things. Even if you talk to somebody and you're like, oh, you're all giggly or whatever, or you just, you're not completely smooth when you talk to somebody new, you can't judge yourself. Nobody's completely smooth. So trying to get over social anxiety, first step is like accept where you're at, realize where you're at, put yourself in reality so you realize more of where you're at. Second, unfilter yourself, speak your mind more, and stay respectful to the other person. Just think about what you want to say and just say it. And then, yeah, like I said, the third thing, listen to the right people, get out of the pity party. You're going to stay in the pity party if you choose to. If you choose to just be like, I can't because of this or that, or my feelings are holding me back. Your feelings are not holding you back. You're choosing to use your feelings as an excuse to hold you back. That's just the truth. You can move your feet. You can go outside. You can look somebody in the eye. You can talk to people. You can do it.